by far the hardest thing that I had to do to now make over $40,000 per month in my early 20s was killing and completely destroying my old identity. And I see so many young guys right now who are struggling to start getting that freedom and getting to their first like 10K a month that I personally coach that stay stuck because of the exact same reasons. I want to explain to you how I fixed this for myself, how I completely stepped out and killed my old identity and stepped fully into the new one to actually change my life very, very quickly. And it was not by working harder or just like grinding more hours like a lot of people think that that's how you make more money. It was by shifting who I was deep down, because you need to realize that who you are and who you unconsciously view yourself as creates everything in your reality. And I used to view myself as someone who was struggling, someone who had a hard time making money online, someone even thought that making 10K a month was difficult to do. And that's why I was stuck. I was unconsciously manifesting my current reality. And I fixed that in a way I want to explain in this video, and everything fell into place. My income started going up and up and up month over month because I learned how to shift identity, and I learned that identity drives everything. If you ever notice in your life that things stay stuck, why is that? It's because deep down you have an identity that is not serving you, that's dictating all of your decisions. Let me give an example here. For example, someone who's overweight is a good example. They might hold identity deep down that I am someone who is overweight. Therefore, no matter how hard they try to lose weight, they will find a way to spiral out of that positive trend and stay overweight. They might one day be like more tired than usual, and they will find a way to not go to the gym and eat the bad food. You will do the exact same thing, and I used to do the same thing on my Make Money Online journey. When I was about to break through and get to my first 5K, my first $10,000 per month, I held the wrong identity deep down unconsciously. Because of that, I would always change. I would change over to a new business model. I would constantly be in this pattern where I started seeing some success and I would immediately just change over to the next thing. And I was in this pattern over and over again for multiple years. Living with my parents, being broken, it's like, why is nothing working out? It was all because of my identity. And when I'm talking about this, maybe you recognize yourself in this. You can probably look back at your own life seeing that you have this pattern for yourself, where you get to a certain point whether that's you're about to stick to one business and like push through the first challenge, or you start making some money online, but when it comes to a certain threshold of making, let's say 1K or 5K or 10K, certain threshold you get to where you all of a sudden you change. You have this very strong feeling deep down inside of you, you should change or give up, and you have this pattern where that repeats itself. That is not because you're not trying hard enough. It's not because you're not working hard enough, you're not disciplined enough. It's because you're operating from the wrong identity. And that's gonna keep happening until you learn what I'm gonna explain to you right now, until you fix this properly. And that's what I'm saying, because your identity drives everything. The thoughts that you have, these very convincing thoughts that you have, okay, I'm gonna change now, I'm gonna quit this business model, go into something else, I'm gonna go back into the 9 to 5, I cannot make money online. Whatever these convincing thoughts are that you've been acting upon that's kept you stuck so far, they come back to your intuition. Obviously, like when you, for example, for me, like when I was running my marketing agency back in the day, and I was like staying stuck, and I was, every single time I started to make some money, I would just change niche or change business model. Why was that? Because my intuition told me to do that. My intuition told me that the right thing to do when I felt stuck is to change. When I started observing that, I started seeing that pattern, I thought to myself, like, why am I doing this? Like, why every single time that I'm stuck, that I'm about to just push through this next threshold and get from 2K a month to 3K a month, from 3K a month to 10K a month? Why do I always change? And so I think to myself, it's probably because I deep down identify myself as someone who's stuck at that income level. And that's why I self-destruct. That was the pattern I was in, was self-destruction over and over again because of my identity. When I became aware of this, I started questioning myself, why am I acting this way? I realized, okay, the belief that I hold, the identity that I hold is someone who's stuck. I realized that it's like, I asked myself, why do I hold that identity? Why do I believe that to be true? And I figured out what I actually came back to, which was basically like my childhood and the things that I've been taught growing up from like parents and surrounding, from growing up in Sweden and like around parents that were working 9 to 5, etc. I was able to find like where I came from, and I could just like overwrite that memory and completely just shift that core identity and step into and feel the feelings of someone who had already made a 10K a month. I could just kill that old identity and completely just like overwrite that and let my new version of me, the version of myself that I've tried to become at that point, who's making 10, 20K a month, living in my hometown, traveling, I was able to step into the emotions, the thoughts, and the confidence of how that version would be feeling, and let that be my identity. That's how everything changed. We're talking literally like after about 2 years of me struggling to make money online, everything changed within 3 months of me doing this. Because I stepped in and I aligned myself, not just, okay, I started thinking of like the 10K per month version of me, I started like acting and started spending money like that. No, I aligned everything. I spoke from that confidence. I spoke exactly the same conviction, the same certainty, like the personal version of me who already successful would. When I was trying to get into high ticket sales, which is a business model I do right now, I showed up on interviews, I showed up on my sales calls with that extreme conviction. I aligned everything. Where I was living, who I was hanging out with, how I was investing my money, how I was thinking, everything I aligned with the new version of myself. And that obviously came with a lot of negative emotions because the old version of me was trying to keep me stuck. But I was willing to just like step out of that completely. And that's how I stepped into new identity. And then everything maybe took like a couple of weeks for my reality to catch up. But then boom, I went from zero to making over $10,000 a month in 3 months. Not because I was working harder or trying more, I was working less if anything, but because I was aligned completely when it comes to identity. I didn't have any old version of me that was trying to drag me back. I'd fully killed that, been okay with going through the negative emotions of my old self trying to pull me back, but still align my actions to the new identity. And you can apply this like literally right now after watching this video. You only have to reflect for multiple weeks. You can literally, that's exciting stuff about this. You can apply this right now. Sit down for yourself. What is the pattern that you're going through? What is causing that pattern? What do you believe to be true about yourself? What's your belief? What's your identity that causes that? What does that come back to? Why do you believe that? Get curious about it and you'll be able to overwrite that old identity that you hold, fix that. And that's gonna be the simplest thing you can literally do today to step into that new identity, start feeling the emotions, start acting, start aligning yourself to that new version of yourself you're trying to become. And then you'll see identity drives everything. When you are inside of it, like you already believe deep down and you are aligned to the frequency, to the emotions, whatever you want to call it, of the version of yourself you're trying to become, the result is happen naturally. You don't try harder, it just comes to you naturally. I end and hope this makes sense. And if you have any questions or you want me to get coached by me one-on-one to get into the business model I do with high ticket sales, you can get coached by me, get trained up to learn a skill, get placed in a role. I have a bunch of roles we're hiring right now as well. So if you're actually willing to commit, you're serious about getting into the space, start making money online, you can book a call down below, see if I can help you, or shoot me a DM on Instagram if you have any questions there. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Ciao.